Yeah,
Did you get your ears lifted, Blake?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
little bang bang action incoming. This is actually the first time my ears have been on the pod. I think.
What do you mean? What's wrong with your ears?
Nothing. I just am not wearing an over the ear headset. I'm wearing.
No, did you get a haircut? Is what I was asking.
Oh no, it's just the way my hat looks.
Ears lifted is an expression of someone got their haircut, or at least that's how it was told to me. I don't know if it's real or not.
When's the last time you got a haircut?
Yeah, yeah, about literally probably 8 to 10 when I donated it in college. So when I graduated college, I shaved it. So that was 2014. So yeah, we're coming up 10-year anniversary.
So you hadn't sat in a barber chair since then?
I sat in a it's not a barber's chair, but what would you call the chair where you get a pedicure? I sat in one of those chairs. It was super nice.
Not a barber's chair.
Yeah, not a barber's chair.
But it was comfortable as hell.
Nice.
I just want to say, before we get started, I've been watching a World War II documentary, and I gotta say, it was pretty based in girl boss of Stalin to recruit women to his army to defend Stalingrad. You know, that was the first time that had been done, and I don't think there's anything sexier than a woman fighting and dying for communism. You know,
he was sexier.
He was ahead of the game with that one. Like, I thought that was great, and I also think it's really funny that Hitler. And I'm really oversimplifying things here, but I think it's really funny that Hitler lost the war basically because it got too cold in Russia. Like, that was kind of the reason. Like, they had just ransacked through Europe, and then it snowed once, and he was like, well, pack it in, guys. Can't handle that. And then that was kind of pretty much the end of it. Like, and
it's almost like if he studied a little bit of history, he'd have known that kind of had happened before. And
right.
To not attack Russia in the winter.
But he wasn't ready. He was all methed up and he wasn't thinking straight.
That's the biggest factor, I think, is like once your doctor stops giving you drugs, now you start to kind of like deteriorate underground. And,
right.
Not many options left once you get to that point.
This is a history podcast now, by the way. So we're going to be getting into the Battle of Stalingrad on this episode. And all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's Totally Biased Music. It's Blake, Anthony, and Trey. And today we are reviewing Everything You Need by Slightly Stoopid and Aliens by James Cameron. So a lot to get into here. Anthony, you picked Everything You Need by Slightly Stoopid. So give us a rundown. Why did you pick this album?
So Slightly Stoopid, I think, is a band that at least everyone has heard of, likely. And I was painting a couple weeks ago and realized, like, I wanted some it was kind of sunsetty vibes. So I was like, I wanted some sort of reggae, but not like super chill reggae. Some kind of like upbeatish, vibey, dancey kind of music to kind of keep that flow state going. And I realized I had never listened to this album all the way through and played it while I was painting and was like, all right, this is probably going to be the next one I bring to the podcast. So did a little teaser with the movement Ride or Die to kind of gauge everyone's opinion, and it sounded like everyone was vibing with it. So I said, all right, it's a green light. So yeah, absolutely wanted to bring Slightly Stoopid. I was going to do Sublime. Sublime was one that that needs to be done on this podcast. But Slightly Stoopid was just running through my veins, so I said, "All right, let's ride with it."
Nice, I feel that. Trey, had you listened to the album before? Was this the first for you?
This is definitely the first I listened through all the way. Thanks for asking, Blake. But I will say that Slightly Stoopid is one of those bands you forget how much of their music that you know.
Right.
So as the album went on, I was pleasantly surprised by songs that I enjoyed, songs I enjoyed in past lives. Maybe. When I consumed cannabis a little bit more often than I do now, which I think, is what Slightly Stoopid's going for a lot of the times. They're kind of making music for the weed smokers, so to speak. And a lot of it was nostalgic. Some of it was interesting stuff I'd never heard before. We can get into some of that once we get into our top and bottom tracks. But yeah, overall, really glad that you picked this record. Pretty nostalgic in general. So thank you, Anthony.
Yeah. This was their third record, and for those listening, 2003, long time ago. But
true.
I think it holds up.
True.
Yeah. Blake, what about you?
21 years ago, we are old now. Well, you guys are. I'm slightly less old, but still. Yeah, so we've seen Slightly Stoopid a few times. I know I have.
Yeah.
I know I'm assuming Trey was with me at the majority of those because he's been with me for the majority of the shows that I've been to. But we've seen Slightly Stoopid a number of times. Always a good time. Also, my fun fact for Slightly Stoopid is Todd knows one of the members of Slightly Stoopid. I don't know
right. I
who
remember
it
that
is.
now.
Yeah.
Don't know who it is?
No, I don't remember who it is, but he knows one of the guys in Slightly Stoopid, and he said that like when I was younger, that he used to be able to get tickets through one of the members of Slightly Stoopid. I don't know. He brings it up every once in a while, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, if they're ever around, let me know because I would definitely go to a show again. So yeah, it was cool to go down memory lane and listen to some more reggae music. And there's some great tracks on this album. There's some weird parts to me, I think would be the proper word for it, where I like some moments I don't particularly love. But as a whole, I mean, I love reggae music, man. I really do. Like, it's hard for me to sit and listen to reggae for like hours on end. Like I don't think I'd ever do that, but it is nice to have like an album, that you throw on and listen to when you're driving, or a couple tracks you want to listen to. And I listened to it on the plane coming back from Orlando, and yeah, it was nice. So it was a good vibe. So I think it was a good pick. And we've gone down to Reggae Land, I think only one time with Bob. So apart from that, it was a nice departure.
I totally thought you were going to say that Todd gets weed from Slightly Stoopid. I could have sworn that was I was hoping for.
That may also be true. I don't know. I don't think he would tell me, but that's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
I think that's a little out of the realm of possibility.
I got a fun fact too, because it might have been my first Pretty Lights show, I think. Trey, were you at Greek Fest when it happened in Tuscaloosa?
No, I did not go to Greek Fest.
So get this lineup, okay? So this is Greek Fest was like on the street in Fraternity Row, in the middle of the road, like block party, right? So Pretty Lights is headlining, Bone Thugs is opening, Slightly Stoopid in between Pretty Lights and Bone Thugs. Like basically just a fucking banger of a show.
Stacked
in the middle of
lineup
just the street,
right there.
You know? So yeah, that was 2010. So that was a hell of a good time back then.
Damn, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. Well, let's get into top tracks. Trey, what do you got?
All right, I'll hop right in. I love going first. So number 3, I got Sweet Honey. This is a song I had completely, and this was kind of the case for a lot of this album, like just completely put these tracks out of my memory. Not something I've ever like come back to. And this song is like, I can like specifically remember like being like kind of lakeside, younger, doing like not anything crazy, just like hanging out and like wakeboarding and doing things of that nature. And listen to this little like love song, bop, whatever you might call it. I don't really, and this kind of is pervasive throughout, like I don't really count a lot of these songs as like true reggae songs.
Yeah.
And this song, like I wouldn't really have as a reggae song. It's almost more of like a singer-songwriter, like indie
acoustic
pop track.
Jam,
Yeah, like an acoustic jam.
It's like a Jason Mraz song, kind of.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Like from a singer-songwriter standpoint, yeah, it can give that vibe, but
yeah,
close, but no cigar.
Yeah, he still got the voice and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But so my second favorite track is Questionable. And that is one of the songs that is kind of like the pop punk, thrash punk tracks.
Yeah.
While I think this is the only one that works out of, I think there's 3. I think there's this one. There's Punk Rock Billy, and then I want to say
Perfect Gentleman.
Wise Man.
Perfect Gentleman.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I liked this one a lot. It reminded me a lot of Dude Ranch by Blink-182. So that's like one of the first couple Blink-182 records, and this is like the sound they go for. But with that being said, well, actually, I'll save this for my bottom 3. Yeah, I didn't know they even made this kind of music. The drums in it are really tight. I like it. It's like it's kind of jarring coming out of the gate. This is like the 3rd track on the record, but it's great. And my number 1 song is Collie Man. Just an absolute classic, and I had forgotten all about the song. This was like when I was younger, man, I loved this song. Like, absolutely thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Once again, not quite on that reggae tip. I don't really love reggae music all that much. So I think it's like one of the least reggae tracks on the record. but it's just really peaceful. It's very vibey. What a great way to close out an album. And yeah, I would love to see this. Made me want to see them live again,
right?
Because like this would be just chilling in the lawn, vibing out. So yeah, those are my top three.
Yeah, I had forgotten about this song, but this is like the one recognizable track on this album to me. It was like, oh yeah, that's a Slightly Stoopid song when it came on. So it was nice to like, it kind of took me back a little bit. And you can see like, it's funny looking at the played like disparity. So there's a bunch of songs on here that are like 7 million, 3 million plays, 4 million plays, and then Collie Man's 102 million plays. It's like the most played song on the whole album. So yeah, very good, very good.
Yeah, I don't have a problem ranking the most played song on the album as number one for me.
Yeah, that's no big deal. You're a mainstream guy. You always have been, so that makes sense. So for me, number 3 for me is intro track, Everything You Need. So this to me is very reggae-esque, which is what I was expecting and hoping for and looking for going into it. Like I always just saw Slightly Stoopid as a reggae band. Like I thought that's what they were, but I don't know. I guess you could classify them in a lot of different ways. Like you were saying, there's some songs in this album that are not very reggae-esque, but very good intro track to kind of set the tone of if you hadn't listened to Slightly Stoopid before, it's kind of giving you a feel for what type of music they make, which I really enjoy. Second track, for kind of the same reasons, I don't want to rehash the exact same points, but Wicked Rebel, oh man, such a head bobber, such a vibe. If I smoked weed still, man, I would spark up a fat blunt, not a joint. I'm a blunt guy, by the way. I would spark up a fat blunt and just sit on my porch, shirtless, obviously, and just play this song and throw something on the grill and just kind of sit and bask in the sun and the reggae and catch the vibes, man. It's such a vibe. And I think we saw them, Trey, at Hangout was one of the first times we saw them. And this gives heavy Hangout Music Festival vibes, man. You just catch it on the beach, sunset. Ooh.
I think we were consuming marijuana at the time as well.
We probably were.
Never a blunt man. You were always a joint guy, but that's okay.
Nah, man. Bring back blunts. I think one of the worst things that happened to the weed community in this day and age is the whitewashing and erasing of blunts in our history, because they don't sell them and they don't sell blunt wraps in stores. So people have stopped. Yes, so because they can't sell them because they're tobacco based. So blunts they have tried to erase blunts from the zeitgeist. And let me tell you something, I will not allow it. Okay. I remember a time when all we did was smoke blunts, and I will not let anybody erase that from our history. And you know what? I may start smoking weed again just to bring the blunt back. Whip it out at a party. Everyone's like, where the fuck did this come from? Like, I just, I remember that time. Yeah. You kids don't know about this back in my day.
Makes me think of, so like Kevin Smith, who does the Jay and Silent Bob movies, in their like little universe, Jay and Silent Bob play comic book characters, and their names are Blunt Man and Chronic. So like Blake is doing his Blunt Man big advocate for blunts right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
And then number 1 track for me is World Goes Round. So so first off, there's like an electronic vibe to this song. That's just kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of in the background, right? They still have the acoustic guitar in here and some other very reggae sounds, but there's this kind of womp throughout in the background that I think is really cool. And then it almost gives me Damian Marley vibes in the sense that like the I-Man feature he's rapping. So there's rap music over this reggae music, which I think just like everything in the song comes together really well for me. Like, very reggae-esque. The instrumentals are crazy. Definitely a different sound from the rest of the album, but in a good way. And then the I-Man verses are super, super sick. So, and I love Damian's song with Skrillex, Make It Bundem, like he's rapping in that song. And like, I don't know, there's something about rap and reggae when they combine, like that Nas and Damian album we've talked about before. And I think hip hop and rap just go really well with reggae-esque instrumentals and beats. So very, very cool song. And then obviously honorable mention, Call Me Man has got to be in there for sure. And Sweet Honey, too. I also enjoyed Sweet Honey. So 2 honorable mentions for me.
Yeah, I had World Goes Round as an honorable mention as well because it kind of reminds me of a Listen track, which is like the old like Pretty Lights band.
Right.
I know we reviewed it on here.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
it kind of sounds like that, like little rap, like kind of a deep beat to it. Definitely has electronic features. So yeah, I agree with you.
Very cool. All right, Anthony, what do you got to bring us home?
I mean, I like how everyone is kind of like diving into things that make sense to them. You know, there's a nostalgic factor. Blake's pulling hip hop out of this. You know, I mean that I think speaks so much to Slightly Stoopid as a whole. Like I calling them reggae is limiting. You know, when there are hip hop influences, there are, you know, sub bass synthesizer influences. Not a lot, but some. You know, the punk rock thrash. I mean, it just really is a collective of genres, and I think they do it so well. And I had the exact same experience going through this album again, where realizing like, fuck, they play this song and that song, and you starting to sing with it, realizing I haven't heard these songs in 10 years, but it still resonates. And it's super clean too for a 2003 album. I think it really holds up well. But so I'm going to go opposite. I'll start with my number 1 track because they've already been mentioned. Wicked Rebel. You know, Wicked Rebel for me, it's such a vibe. It's such a banging vibe, and the words that he's singing are almost like he's choreographing the song. You know, bring down the treble, bring up the echo. You know, I mean, he's like, and it's laced so nicely throughout the song. Like you can hear that rhythm already, right? So Wicked Rebel is my number 1 track. Number 2, I have World Goes Round. You know, the next 2 tracks I wanted to go different. You know, because like I had never heard World Goes Round until I listened to it this way. And when it came on, you know, it's directly after Punk Rock Billy, which is that thrashing song, right? And when I heard it, it literally made me step back and like, you know, I was painting, so I like had to take my gloves off and like pull my phone out and see what was actually playing, because like I was like, this is such a different take from what we've already listened to, but it's fire. You know, it's so good. Mm-hmm. Like I could listen to that song on a loop for a while, you know, and you start to pull out different samples. You start to pull out the guitar in the background. Blake, you mentioned that, and it's so subtle, right? Yep. But I think it's such a vibe and it feels so good that like I would love to see, perhaps there is more, because I mean they have a Slightly Stoopid has a, you know, pretty, not super extensive catalog, but like a decently sized one. But I would love to hear songs like that and see where that goes. Or even like there's a producer out there that takes their songs and then kind of molds them in that kind of way, because that's a song that could be played live anywhere. I think now at a dance show or at a hip hop show, and people are gonna resonate with it. You know, it's undeniable.
Yeah,
that would be sick. And seeing I-Man live would be sick too. I don't know much about him, but I would dig it. My number 3 track is Mellow Mood. You know, another one that I had not heard before. I know of G-Love, you know, of G-Love and Special Sauce, but like this song really vibes. Like it's just such a smooth
ride. I got some
ride.
Special Sauce.
I got some G-Love.
There you go. Everything you need, right?
That was kind of my joke, but that's cool. That's you can piggyback off that if you want to.
Every joke is our joke. We should.
This is a collective.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, everybody that died in Stalingrad. Okay.
Well, this song though, Mellow Mood is, for me, it is the campfire song. Like that song, it's so raw, like it's so stripped back to acoustic and vocals that like this is the song where everyone's sitting around smoking a joint. Yeah, I said joint, and hanging out together, right? So like it really is like just a collective vibe, which I think this whole album does such a great job of it. But you know, I want to use my honorable mentions for songs y'all haven't named, like "Leaving on a Jet Plane." "Leaving on a Jet Plane," is that a cover? Do y'all know?
Yes, it's a John Denver song.
Okay, because
we'll get to it in just a second.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, somebody's John Denver. I get it. Well, that I dig it. You know, "Killing Me Deep Inside" is an interesting take too, because that is a hard song to sing. Like if you tried to sing that song with like when your lips don't move as fast as this guy's does, you get lost in the sauce. But like I dig that track. Same with Running with the Gun. They give similar vibes. So, of course, Sweet Honey, Collie Man, Wise Man, banger tracks. But I wanted to highlight just some of the other ones. Officer is another. It's a story track. You know, it's a I'm getting arrested or potentially getting arrested track, and those are. I mean, can't get enough of those songs, right?
Personally, I've never been there, so I couldn't super relate to it. But had I been there before, I think I probably would have. It would have brought me back. You know.
Yeah.
Right, Trey.
Yeah, definitely.
You also feel that way?
I also feel that way. I couldn't relate. That's not as
Blake is winking so hard right now. Trey.
Okay, so bottom tracks. Trey, what do you got? I think you already teased one a little bit here. A little spoiler alert.
So I only have 2 bottom tracks, but I have 3 bottom things. Okay.
Wait, sorry, say that again? You have 2 bottom tracks and 3 bottom what?
2 bottom tracks, but 3 things negative about the album.
Okay.
All right. So first off, I think it's pretty great across the board. Reggae is not like quite my steez, but there wasn't anything that was like bad enough for me to be like, oh, this is like a negative. Like it's fine. But Punk Rock Billy I have as a bad song for number 2. You know, I kind of get that they're like genre benders and stuff like that, but this just like doesn't work and it falls kind of flat. And it kind of comes at a point in the record where I feel like you kind of settled in a little bit more. So whereas like Questionable's early on in the record, like it's a little jarring, but it's like, oh, like they're doing something kind of different. And I think it's just generally a better song than Punk Rock Billy. Like you're kind of in the groove of the middle of the album, and then all of a sudden this thing just kind of comes out of nowhere. So I didn't love that. And then my number 1 bottom song is Leaving on a Jet Plane. Because that song actually means a lot to me. My parents used to sing it to me, like tell me to go to sleep when I was like a baby.
It's your
like,
lullaby song, Trey?
Yeah, Leaving on a Jet Plane is my lullaby song.
Wow.
But how do you know it was the John Denver version?
It was definitely the John Denver version. I know.
Giving you lullabies at 12?
Yeah. Well, they were, but that was a whole different issue. And like he just kind of fucking butchers it, man. Like Leaving on a Jet Plane is this beautiful ballad about how this man is like regretfully having to leave
on a jet plane.
On a jet plane, and you know he's gonna come back again, but he's not really sure. But yeah, I just think they kind of butcher the cover, and maybe it's just because I hold it in a special place. But like it just like I was like I hate everything about this. My third bottom thing about the album is that album artwork, man. That needs some work. I know we were a little loose and fast with like the filtering in the early 2000s and like being shirtless.
So early 2000s.
These guys look like they either just committed or are about to commit some type of hate crime. Like,
it's giving date rape. That's kind of what I'm getting from it.
It's scary looking, man. And the other like the actual issue, like jokes aside, is it does not portray the sound of this album.
It doesn't
in the slightest.
They look like if you showed that to somebody, they'd be like, "Is this a Limp Bizkit cover band?"
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this like a Creed offshoot? Yeah, like. So I don't think they did themselves justice with this style.
Yeah, it's funny because like I've never like looked at this album artwork with any critical eye. I've just never. It's just been a non-factor, which is wild for me to say because I'm a big fan of album artwork, but like I just have never really just taken this in because it is like scary weird. Like,
like the font for Slightly Stupid looks like you remember Independent Trucks and like everyone had those like independent shirts. Mm-hmm. It's like the skating company. Yeah. It's just strange. So
wait, just so people know what we're talking about. That is the album art right there. Yeah. So if you are curious,
they're like, you sure you want to come in this neighborhood?
But the thing is, no, it's not even that. It's like, who invited you to this bonfire? Like,
exactly. Who do you know here?
Yeah, exactly.
That is a weird. Yeah, it is like an interesting kind of like way to take it in because they are all like perceiving the viewer, which that is a weird vibe. Considering the music does not match,
right, exactly. So those are my bottom 3 things.
So what I got for bottom 3, and listen, this is going to go very quickly, and there's a reason for that. So I have 3 bottom tracks, and you guys will pick up very quickly as to why these are my 3 bottom tracks. So Questionable, Perfect Gentleman, and Punk Rock Billy. And for Questionable, I wrote, this song is questionable. And for perfect for Perfect Gentleman, I said, here we go again with this rock bullshit. And then Punk Rock Billy, I just didn't write anything because like you guys get the theme here. I don't like when they're doing whatever they're doing here, whatever Dude Ranch, Blink 182-esque. Like, I don't know, man. I think partially it's because I went into it expecting reggae vibes. The first two songs are very good. They're very reggae vibes. And then we go into Questionable and I'm like, all right, what direction are we going here? You know? So it felt very out of place to me. So those, and the thing is like, so how many tracks are on this album? There's 14 tracks and there's 3 songs like this on the album. And so it just feels like, I don't know. They all feel so out of place. It would be different if it was like, I don't know, 7 and 7 or 6 and 8, right? It was more mixed in, but it just felt like 3 tracks that they had also recorded around the same time. And they're like, oh, fuck it. Let's just put it on this album, you know? And that's what, like, I don't know. It just didn't stack up for me. And I really did not enjoy it. I didn't like the way that he was singing. I didn't like the guitar about it. So, those are big turnoffs for me personally. So that's all I had.
That's fair.
Yeah, I honestly had the exact same bottom tracks for similar reasons. You know, they're like big tangents from the complete album, I feel. But my theory on these songs are that they're like meant to be live. You know, like there's a lot of energy, a ton of energy behind those songs that like I think translate well in a crowd of people who also love that type of music, right? Which that's what the album artwork reflects, right? These tracks, perhaps.
True.
You know, like,
yeah.
I'm like, just
like,
come fuck
I
with
don't know, man.
Try to make sense of it, right? But but yeah, I mean, Questionable, Perfect Gentleman, Punk Rock Billy. Yeah, I feel like they could have been at least saved for a different project, perhaps. I think if they do that, this album is like way
close
up
to perfect, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I would say it is right at that point. And I mean, but they're not long and they're not meant to be long, but like that's that music, you know, that punk, ska, reggae, hybrid, lots of energy, lots of movement, consolidated in tracks. But yeah, it does definitely like startle. It definitely like takes you back. You know, I listened to this again last night and those are tracks that I'm skipping, you know, because I'm trying to stay in a vibe and I think it tangents way too hard. That it's like, hey, now, like, what is actually happening?
And that's kind of why I liked the first one, because I feel like it didn't take away from the whole of it. You know what I mean? But the other ones were like, what the fuck is this doing in here?
Like, where is this coming from and why? Also, so Slightly Stupid. I couldn't find any reviews. Obviously, I looked for Pitchfork and Rolling Stone, and I guess, you know, Slightly Stupid's not. They're kind of in the P Groove lane, I think, right? Like they're not super big, but they're not small either. They're somewhere in between. I don't know. Do you disagree, Trey? It looks like you disagree.
I mean, they're definitely bigger than P Groove for sure. Yeah. Slightly Stupid like can throw like big events, and I think they headline Red Rocks every year for a couple nights.
Well, and they do a lot of like they will tag along. I hate saying it that way. They will join up with like other bands, Revolution, Collie Buds, and they throw these big reggae events. You know, there's a shit, I can't think of them right now, but there's a lot Reggae Rise Up and things like that. You know, where they will be like a staple for that. But I would love to see them live now and get that feeling too. But they're pretty known, and I think it's one of those things where you may not know that it's Slightly Stupid, but you know the song, and then you're like, "Fuck, they sang this song too."
Yeah.
Yeah,
and reggae music, I think, as a whole, is it's kind of a lost genre in our generation. It's very, it's a very Gen X music genre. I feel like that's kind of when it peaked, when Gen Xers were like post grunge, the post grunge hangover. They're like, oh, I got to come down from this. Like, let me just listen to some reggae music, and so they just put on some reggae. So I think it's definitely like. If I went to this show, I feel like I would see a lot of New Balances, a lot of cargo shorts, probably backwards fitted hats, which is fine. You know, if they're getting down with the get down, then that's cool. But I think that's kind of why we don't hear a lot about it and see a lot of people, you know, going to shows or talking about it, because reggae is a very niche genre, I think, compared to the wide variety of other genres that we talk about on this podcast.
Well, and like Sublime is such a massive influence, I think, for this type of reggae, where it is hip hop centric, it's rhyme centric. There are different elements to it. But yeah, when Sublime's, Brad, their lead singer, died, it's like now there's a void, right? And bands like this who probably grew up with Sublime want to still produce that type of music, and this is what you got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. Well, let's get into ratings. Trey, what do you got?
I give this a solid. I'll be going back and forth between two. I'm going to give it a solid 6.5.
Oof. So low.
Like I was either a 6.5 or a 7, and I feel like that 0.5 is really a lot bigger than like it sounds.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, right. Like a 7's like, oh, I liked it. 6.5 is like, oh, I didn't like it that much. I really enjoyed it, but it's just not something I would listen to often because I'm not like a big reggae guy. But the tracks that I liked a lot, and like we'll probably kind of plug those in on some playlist because yeah, definitely a lot of nostalgia and enjoyed it a lot. Nothing like overly negative, but nothing like overly great is kind of how I would put it.
That's very fair.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Anthony, what do you got?
So I'm much more generous with this. I mean, the songs that I love, which are 11 of them, I really love and could listen to every day, honestly. But those 3 songs definitely take it down a notch. So, and album art is not influencing this pick at all. But I give this a 9, man. Like I said, the songs themselves like I hadn't heard Sweet Honey in forever, but like it just feels too good. And all the songs feel that way, honestly, except for those 3. So like, yeah, if you take those 3 songs out, consolidate it to 11 songs, this might be one of my favorite albums ever, right? If that is the case, but it's not. So that's why I got to give it a 9. But this could be daily listening for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar vein. I don't love it as much as you, Anthony, but I'm going to give it a 7.5 because those 3 songs really piss me off.
Maybe they're meant to, right?
Maybe. But apart from that, those songs are getting me ready to kick somebody out of the bonfire that was not invited.
Sunglasses on.
Yeah. You showed up to Arizona. My shirt is off. My sunglasses are on, and we got fucking problems. So apart from those songs, though, like, I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. It was a fun listen. It was relaxing. It was nice to kick back and listen to some reggae music. And like, going from Post Malone last week, I winked there. I don't know if you guys saw that. Going from Post Malone last week to Slightly Stoopid this week, it was nice to do that back to back because it was kind of just like, it's a good goodbye to summer to me. It's like, all right, this is summer type music, end of summer music, and yeah, put me in the right spot. So 7.5. You're muted, Trey.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I'm gonna bump mine up to a 7. It's a good farewell to summer.
Yeah,
that's the reasoning that I needed to change to get that extra half point.
All right, that's fair. I like that
because I did enjoy it. I don't want to sound like I didn't enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Right. It's just not your type of music, which is fine.
Yeah, but like 6.5 is too low. 7's perfect.
There you go. I'm so glad you did that. But like, it is that kind of like departure track. Whether you're driving and there's a sun setting behind you and this is playing, like, or you wake up in the morning and sun's coming up, like it can be a really nice transitional album. So like, yeah, that's a great interpretation. Summer's going, fall is coming, everything you need.
It's right around the corner.
Gone.
And enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy this fall because I guarantee you 3 years from now we will not have a fall. It'll be summer year round, baby. So that's
3 years.
Yep, that's what you get, and you have only your fucking voting record to blame. So anyway, let's get into rides or dies. Trey, you can lead us off. What do you got?
All right, I'll be honest with you. I forgot which one's which for this.
Okay.
Something Like Olivia, is what I chose. So Something Like Olivia is a song off of a John Mayer album called Born and Raised. When the album came out, it was pretty much panned critically. Yep. People really disliked it. I think after going back, several years later, when did the album come out? I want to say 2015, maybe. If you want to fact check that really quick, Blake.
Yeah, give me just a second.
Keep going. I think maybe we weren't ready for it. I think that some of this type of music has gotten a lot more popular in the last few years.
2012, dude. Holy shit.
God,
Yeah.
we're old.
Yeah.
Anyway, so something like Olivia is this really fun track where Mayer's just kind of like playing a couple cool little blues licks and singing about how he's going to steal a man's girl eventually, basically.
Olivia Wilde.
Is that what the song's about?
Yeah, it's about Olivia Wilde.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, now you know. John has a very interesting dating record. He's kind of the male Taylor Swift. Back in his prime, he was putting up numbers.
Yeah, he was put up.
Blake is very versed in John Mayer's dating history.
Yeah, true.
He's very invested.
Cool. That makes it even cooler because Olivia Wilde's kind of badass. So
yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, you know what, Trey, and you posted a different song on your story not too long ago from this album, and I kind of gave you some shit. Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. Well, I kind of gave you some shit for it because it was Born and Raised, and like you said, it was critically panned upon release. But I have not gone back and listened to it. I still haven't. I really want to, and I also want to listen to, what was the other one? Paradise Valley, I think, was the one after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Paradise Valley, which is like a similar vibe. And look, you know, around that time, John was getting sober, so I think like his mind shifted, his music changed, and he wanted to make different types of music. And you know, more power to him. I'm glad that he did what he wanted to do. So that's very cool. And obviously now we know where John is. And I will argue that John is one of the best guitarists alive right now. The dude fucking shreds. He has always been a great guitar player. So yeah, this is a hard ride for me. I really, really enjoyed it. And I've heard this song. I think he has an acoustic version out there, like where it's just him by himself with his guitar recording it, if I remember correctly, which is also really good. But yeah, really enjoyed it. So good pick. I need to go back. I will go back and listen to the album for sure.
So is that a Rides?
That's a Rides.
It's a Rides.
Oh yeah.
It's a Rides from me too. I'm not super versed in John Mayer's solo stuff. My sister probably really is. I don't say that by meaning any certain type of thing.
Felt like a shot, but I know.
Yeah, kind of a little bit.
It felt like a shot, but I know you didn't mean it.
Anthony's like, this is something my sister would really like.
My little sister.
Tried to bring it back.
Anyway.
I mean, I'm a big fan of John Mayer, you know, as a human and an artist, but like I just don't know a lot of his music. But I do remember her having a lot of his CDs being purchased. But this is something I never heard before, so interest to dive into this album and kind of like post battle studies. Like I remember that was like a CD she had, and she had Continuum too. But yeah, I'd like to listen to more of his solo stuff, and I would love to see. I mean, I just looked and saw he had an album come out in 2021, but like anything really like noteworthy, I want to see what comes out of this Dead and Company phase. Like I want some more creativity to come out of that, whether it's you know, just more songs that he's writing, because I can't imagine he's not creating something. But I'm so pleased with him playing with Dead and Company. I think that's such a great fit. So I like
it's
that
the best. And I will say, quick aside, I went to the Battle Studies tour when I was 14 years old. And I sat next to a lady who was recently divorced. She was probably like 52. And she was pouring her heart out to me about her divorce. And I was like 14 at the time. And I was like, I wish I had advice for you, but I simply have not experienced such trauma. So I don't know what to tell you.
You said come back to me in 2 years. I got you.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know what? I just want to say shout out to that lady. I hope she's doing good. You know, she was very nice. So she deserves the best. And I hope she enjoyed that concert too.
Yeah, I skipped the first soccer game of the season that year to go to that Battle Studies show in Birmingham.
Nice. I'm sure your coach was very happy about that.
Coach McDonald was not happy about that, but I was like, bro, I got to go see Mayer shred. You don't get it.
Yeah, very true.
Cool. What was yours, Blake? I don't remember.
So it was Texas Flood by Stevie Ray Vaughan. So Anthony and I have talked about Mr. Stevie when we did our Jimmy episode. I think Stevie is the greatest guitar player in the history of guitar playing over Jimi Hendrix. And we have had this debate that it is definitely more, well, Buckethead is up there too, Anthony.
Yeah.
It is definitely more about, what is Trey grabbing? No, Trey, no.
He's
no.
pretty good too.
He's
four digits. He's pretty good.
I mean, he's good, but he's not. Let's not put him in that category. Yeah, Stevie's the greatest of all time. He's the greatest blues guitar player easily, but overall the greatest guitar player. And this song, like this right here, is quintessential blues music, man. Texas Flood, whew, just really exactly what I want from a guitar player, exactly what I want from Stevie. So, you know, hard. I listen to it on a regular basis. I listen to that album actually pretty regularly. But yeah, Trey, what did you think?
Hard Ride. Stevie Ray Vaughan's phenomenal. It's kind of a huge bummer that like right after he was really kind of peaking that he passed away. But
yeah, that's what I was about to say. Because did you just say he was the greatest guitarist alive? Or
no, I said of all time.
Okay, gotcha. I'm hearing things.
You have to be like, because he's very dead.
He died at 35.
I know things that you guys don't know.
Yeah, wasn't he flying to Alpine Valley?
Yes, or he was flying
like
somewhere. I don't remember where he was going.
Yeah. Anyway. Stevie Ray Vaughan's awesome. Was I wouldn't say necessarily he's the best guitar player of all time, but I would definitely say he is in the conversation.
He was flying from Alpine Valley.
Gotcha.
He had just played Alpine Valley, and he was on.
That's right. Yeah.
So
cool.
Helicopter crash too.
Yeah.
As far as like, apparently helicopters are not that safe. Y'all
helicopters are not safe. I'm never getting a helicopter.
Like
rest in peace, Kobe.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? That's a whole thing. Anyway, Anthony, what do you think? What do you think about this song?
Have you ever flown in one before?
No, I've never flown in one. I think they're safe. I wouldn't have any issues getting in one, but like I said,
I flew in one in Vegas. Flew down to the Grand Canyon. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
So you have, and you lived to tell the tale, Trey.
I've lived through a lot of things that would have killed normal men, Anthony.
True. Very true.
Okay. So yeah, this is a rides for me for sure. I've not listened to a lot of his music. You know, I know he's a legend. I know he's super talented. Just, I mean, there was a song. What was it? What's Pride and Joy? So like, I don't know. Maybe it was Guitar Hero. First time I ever really heard that song, right? And I found it really annoying for whatever reason.
Okay.
Then, but that's not how you should discover a song is through Guitar Hero. Because I sucked at playing the song. That's why I found it annoying. But yeah, right. No, this song rides for sure. And well, bring some more Stevie. Let's see what he's got.
I saw a tweet one time that was like, I'm listening to the Guitar Hero 3 soundtrack right now. It's so good. And someone was like, songs. Those are songs.
Yeah.
It's not a video game soundtrack. All right, Anthony, what do you got?
All right. So by the time you're listening to this, Tipper will have smashed Alabama into another dimension. But so I had to bring this song because it is not currently, released in any other proper fashion besides SoundCloud. But it's a song that was debuted in Swanee, and the first time I ever heard it, just completely lost everything in the best way possible. So this song resonates in my brain forevermore, and I love it. It's a track called Sleeper, and I had to bring it to you guys. This is like my ideal type of Tipper music. It's down tempo, it's just melty, it's just globular. I mean, it just touches every sense that I want it to. So what'd you guys think?
I'm gonna go ahead and go first here.
But take your time, Blake. Take your time.
This is what I want to say. You guys know me and Tipper, man, and we have a tumultuous relationship, and it is a rant I have gone on one too many times. So I will not subject you guys to that yet again. But I will say this song. I got dogs barking in the background. This song fucking rides, brother. Let me tell you, there are some of those Tipper tracks that just hit right where I need them to hit, right in the jugular, right in the taint sometimes. And this is one of those songs. So Hard Rides for me. Good pick because my mind or my opinion on Tipper was changed after our Tipper episode, because it really I feel like opened my eyes to his music, and I set aside my differences as a leader, a once great leader of the Bass Nectar Army that has retired. Things have changed, and so I have set aside my differences with the Axis powers, and I have just tried to focus on the music itself. and it has changed my mind greatly on Tipper. And so, yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm glad you brought it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Trey?
This song absolutely rides. I'm really looking forward to when you hear this last weekend. Yeah, I just want to point out that Tipper actually put the song out. So yeah, he debuted it at Sewanee, like you're talking about, right? But then he put it out several years later when his stepfather passed away. So he dedicated to his stepfather. He's not someone who really shares details of his personal life often. But Tipper has always had an interesting relationship with death. Being that he almost has died a couple times through different health issues, and has made countless songs that kind of talk about what's on the other side, I think. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think these will probably be my last Tipper shows. I think this will be my sayonara, so to speak, and yeah, it's gonna be a really good time. Looking forward to seeing you. Looking forward to help sling some vinyls on Lawton with you,
bro, and some TBM stickers. For sure.
Well, yeah, those didn't quite get ordered, unfortunately.
Oh, but, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that, Trey, there is, coming from someone who knew he was retiring from Bonnaroo before his last Bonnaroo, there is a great feeling and a great sense of closure in those moments, those final moments of that Tipper show that you're going to experience, where you get to have your own send-off and you get to go out on your own terms, and it's a good feeling. And for Anthony and I, there is an artist that we did not get to have our send-off for, and having that closure, knowing you're going to have that closure before it happens, I think it allows you to really soak in and enjoy that moment and say goodbye in your own way. So I'm excited for you, and I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to hear about it. So
thank you.
That, of course.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, so that was Rides or Dies, and we are now going to launch into Aliens, which is the second movie in the Alien franchise. There's a total of 7 now, and I have...
Wait, what?
What?
I fucked up.
Which one did you watch?
I watched the first one.
Oh my God, Trey, you didn't watch the second one?
Well, no, let me tell you what happened.
Oh my God. Anthony, have you seen Alien?
Yeah.
All right, we can talk about Alien. We'll talk about Alien. We can't talk about the second one if you haven't seen it.
This is what happened. So I started to watch the second one. I got 20 minutes in, and I was like, wait a second. This isn't making any sense.
Yeah.
And I was
That's fair.
And yeah, because they were talking about, and so I thought they were going to do kind of like a flashback thing, because they're like, oh, I just got back from this horrible ordeal. And so then I was like, shit, I think I'm watching the wrong Alien. And so then I went and then I watched the regular Alien, and I thought it was fucking awesome. And so then I was like, well, now I got to watch the second one. So I started watching the second one last night. I got about halfway through it, and then I fell asleep, and I was just going to finish it sometime this week.
Okay, well, let's talk about Alien then, because
talk about Alien. That's my bad. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I mean, I'm well versed in all of them, so that's okay. I don't know when Anthony last watched the first Alien. So we'll switch up gears a little bit. So Alien, the first one, is a Ridley Scott film. So it came out in 1979. Aliens is much later. It's 1986. And James Cameron directed it. Kind of goes in a completely different direction. But yeah, Alien itself, I think, like you guys know, I've talked about it before. Easily my favorite horror franchise, probably my favorite franchise of all time. I love every single one of the movies. I think they all bring their own interesting aspects to the franchise and build on one another. But Alien was the first of its kind. And I read a quote that Ridley Scott watched Star Wars, I think the first Star Wars, and was mad because he thought he would never create a movie that good. So he scrapped the movie he was working on and then went and made Alien, which is really funny because Alien is miles ahead of the first Star Wars, in my opinion. But yeah, Alien, just very unique, like the world building aspect of it, the fact that it all kind of takes place in one area, basically. I mean, there's a moment, moments at the beginning when they're on LV-426, the planet, but after that, a lot of it takes place in the ship. And yeah, there's just aspects of it that are very interesting. The face huggers, right, are genuinely terrifying. The robot that is on the ship that you don't find out is a robot until later, and of course the alien, the xenomorph itself, is terrifying and very special. But I think it's a good blend of horror and action and sci-fi. And so I don't know, what did you guys think if it was your first watch? I've seen it like 10 times, so I want to know what you thought if it was the first time you watched it.
I absolutely loved it, and I don't really like horror movies, but honestly, a lot of it was giving kind of Star Wars type. Like the set pieces very much reminded me of being in like a Star Wars type set piece. And I think some of the cinematography was just absolutely phenomenal. Like that scene where she's on the shuttle and the aliens like sleeping, and she like the whatever, and she's like trying to figure out what to do, and she like and the lights flash like at the like on the aliens like a strobe. I was like,
Yep.
this is just so sick, especially for the time.
Yep.
Where like you had to use very, very manual effects.
So ahead of its time.
So ahead of its time. I mean, and the alien's absolutely terrifying, and it's and it's obviously like real effects. I don't know.
Yep.
It was really good. I was shocked at how much I enjoyed it because this is not my like usual, not my genre.
Yeah, and they still use. They have always used practical effects for all of the Alien movies. So they use very little CGI. So like even the prequels and Romulus, like the Alien and Romulus was practical effects. So it's a whole costume and everything. So I think that's really, really cool that they're still doing that. But Anthony, what did you think?
I loved it. I couldn't remember when I saw it last, but it I mean, it had to have been at least a year or so ago. But one thing that I definitely remember, first off, I love crew movies. Like I love movies that start off with like a group of folks and you realize no, not everybody's making it out of this. So then it becomes like, slasher-esque in a sense, like they start picking them off one by one. And also Ripley as a lead is such a interesting character. I mean, seeing her kind of throughout these movies, it really is interesting to watch her journey because there hasn't, at least definitely at that time, wasn't a lot of strong female leads like that.
Right.
But do you remember, Blake or Trey, since you just watched it, like it takes they don't even show you the creature for the longest time, right?
It's in the third act.
Towards the end
of
the
third act.
Yeah. The very end.
So that's such an interesting take on a movie like this because you don't know from the poster art what the alien even looks like. I mean, it's basically just like an egg, right?
An egg, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of tension building throughout that movie that I think is so. That's what makes a movie like this so cool because there are little things and you're hearing sounds and you're realizing people are missing or whatever. So it's like, realize all this stuff is happening, but then once it does go to hell, then it's like, okay, now it's on. Right now,
but to me, honestly, the face huggers are equally as terrifying as the xenomorph herself. Like that aspect of those movies are equally terrifying, and they're in basically every movie, and they're all they all look relatively different in all the movies. Like the second one, they resemble hands like so much, like they look like fingers and things like that. But I think those are equally terrifying, and I don't want to spoil too much for Trey, but I wanted to talk about because I rewatched Aliens after Romulus, and Aliens is, without giving too much away, it's very much a war movie. It's very different than Alien. Alien kind of takes place in an isolated area. It's almost like a haunted house movie, right?
Yeah.
And Aliens is way more wide scale. There's way more set pieces. It's way bigger, and there's more than one alien. And I think that what Romulus did a really good job of, because Romulus takes place between the first and the second movie, and I know you've seen it, Anthony, but Romulus is like the perfect blend of Alien and Aliens because there are multiple aliens. It's very action packed. There's a lot of shooting. There's a lot of shit going on, but they're also in an isolated space station. So it has that same vibe as the first Alien. And I think Romulus far exceeded my expectations. It obviously far exceeded their expectations. They wanted it to go to streaming, and it's made $250 million on an $80 million budget. So I hope it.
Why did it blow up so much? Is there like a?
I think that
really craving this. I think.
Yeah,
Alien
I think
fans,
it's really good, but also Alien, the franchise has dedicated fans. They have people that really love these movies and wanted more, and so I hope that. So Ridley, Prometheus and Covenant are a prequel to Alien, and there was supposed to be a third one that Ridley didn't get greenlit to do because people didn't like Prometheus and Covenant. So I'm hoping that with this and the money it's made, they give him the ability to go finish that trilogy, because there's a whole fucking can of worms in that prequel, those movies that I'd love to talk about eventually. But yeah, high praises to all the aliens. I'm glad that at least you watched one of them, Trey. You'll have to watch Aliens at some point and let us know.
I'm probably gonna finish it like tonight. Like that was my plan, so I kind of feel shitty. I'm sorry I messed up the movie.
No, it's all good.
No, but from like a genesis of a franchise, Alien is a great launching point because it doesn't tell you too much. You know,
Right.
It's just the facts of this experience and what happens and who's left to tell the tale, right? And then you can kind of go with it as you see, which the next film James Cameron does, David Fincher. I haven't seen Aliens, the third one yet, but like that's such a cool way to start a franchise without blowing your wad. You know what I mean? Like there's no exposition in this movie. It's just what it is, right?
There's zero exposition.
It's perfect. That's how it should be.
The whole first half of the movie, I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
It's discovery, it's pure discovery. And like, again, from a film watching standpoint, that keeps you engaged because you're trying to learn what is going on or what is happening.
And what's so cool about it to me is I was saying this to a friend of mine. Alien, a lot like the other 70s 80s sci-fi movies, is it has a very futuristic yet 70s feel to the technology in the ship. Like it feels old, but it also feels futuristic at the same time. And they carry that over to Prometheus and Covenant and Romulus, and like those movies are being made in 2012. 2016, 24, and it still has that, this is what 70s people thought the future was going to be like. Like they maintain that thought process really well. Cool. So I think it's really, really cool.
Nice.
So yeah. Well, okay. So next week is, what do we got? I think it's, oh man, I'm losing track.
Trey's got the album.
Trey's album and Anthony's movie. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So what do you guys got? Trey, what do you got?
So we've done a Pink Floyd record. Yes. Right. We've done a Led Zeppelin record.
Oh, we did The Wall, yeah.
Yep.
Right. We've done Led Zeppelin. We've done Radiohead. So we've done 3 of the greats. I figured it might be time for us to do the big great of all time. It's time for a Beatles record, ladies and gentlemen.
This was coming. I knew it was coming.
When you mentioned it last week, I was like,
guess which one too.
No, so I've gone back and forth on which one. And I figure I'm going to go with my favorite. Because that just makes so much sense, and I think it's also objectively the best Beatles record. So we're going to do Revolver by the Beatles. I've had this CD in my car deck since I was 17, 18 years old. And I've gotten 3 new cars, and the first thing I do is I go buy a new Revolver CD. I probably bought this record 10 to 15 times. Fucking love this album. So yeah, Blake is probably not going to be too happy, but the good news for you, Blake, it's only 34 minutes and 45 seconds long. So,
okay. Oh, wow.
So you can hold your nose through that long a couple
time. Yeah. I will go in unbiasedly. I will be ready to listen objectively and enjoy it.
I hope so.
Okay. Anthony, what do you got for the movie?
All right, so Blake, again, this is all about Blake, right? So he's been very he's on the record with his distaste for biopics, right? Or biopics.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
So, well,
before you announce the movie, let me say something. I don't have a problem with biopics. I have a problem with the fact that we feel the need to make 700 of them. Like everything is a fucking biopic now. They're doing a Bruce Springsteen one. They're doing a Bob Dylan one. They did a Freddie Mercury one.
They're doing looks really good. The Freddie Mercury one's great.
That's fine, but it's like just let them rest, man. Like it just needs to stop. And like there's an NWA one. They're making an Anthony Bourdain one. They're doing one for every Beatles person. Like, can we just we just need an original? All right, you know what? Whatever. Anthony, what do you got?
Well, on that note, I have to bring you this movie because it is like possibly the greatest biopic of all time because it's like the biggest spoof of all biopics ever. So the movie that we are going to watch is called Walk Hard, The Dewey Cox Story. And by Blake's face, he has no idea. Blake, if you trust me,
you're going to fucking love this.
Do not look up anything except for however you have to find it. Let's find out what is it on because
Kid Dad.
This is gonna be a good one. So Prime Video, perhaps. If you have to pay for it, I will reimburse you for this one because you'll be. I'm excited for this one.
I'm not Trey. I can afford it, so I'll be good. Thank you
Walk
for that.
Hard. Walk Hard is the name of the movie.
Okay, Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed. We will see you next week, and everybody else, see you guys then.
See ya.
Bye.